Good morning and welcome to your Farm and Home Show. I'm Kristi Shive, and this morning we're visiting with Sarah Drysdale. She's Family and Consumer Sciences Agent in Ballard County. Sarah, today you are here to talk about effective communication. But first, we're going to talk about nonverbal communication. Sarah, can you kind of dive into what the nonverbal communication looks like and why it's so important?
So, when we talk about effective communication, obviously everybody thinks about what we say and that sort of thing. But over 93% of our communication is nonverbal. So, that is our body language, our tone of voice, and then our verbal message as it comes out. So, when we look at, say, our body language, we're looking at how our posture is. Like, are we hunched over? Are we kind of like in a power stance position? Are we making good eye contact with somebody? If we avoid eye contact, we may not feel as strongly led in something, or we may feel that that person may has more power than we do. And our gestures. So are we mirroring people's gestures? How do we talk? Like, do we talk with our hands? Are we fidgety? Those sort of things go into your body language when talking to people. And then, of course, your tone of voice. So it's not what you
Mm.
say, but how you say it. So talking about our pitch, our volume, our pace, and our inflections. So we can inflect on a word, giving it more of a meaning than maybe we mean to when we talk to people.
Why do we need to be aware of our nonverbal communication?
So, in most of the ways that we communicate, there are different types of ways that we do. We do one on one sessions. So, like a conversation you have with a friend, a colleague, or a coworker. Then you have group style communication, such as, if we have teaching a lesson or a group of people get together to collaborate on a project. And then a type of communication that we don't always do is mass communication. So, somebody speaking to the public in sorts of ways, like giving information, briefings, and things of that nature. So when we're in our one-on-one settings and our group settings, we may be meeting some people for the first time, and we just need to be aware of our audience. So if I'm around somebody that I know, I can be, very easy with my nonverbal. So my nonverbal cues are very strong, so I've been told, but I do try to keep those in check when I'm in a group style setting or meeting some people I know for the first time, because I don't want something I do, like raising my eyebrow in a different way, to come across as rude or I'm not interested, because sometimes some people may take offense to little gestures and we don't even know we do them half the time.
So it's really important to be considerate of our nonverbal communication when we're specifically with new people. If someone knows us well, they know, oh, that's just Sarah. But when they're in a situation where we're meeting a new colleague or a new friend, this nonverbal communication is really important. So, Sarah, verbal communication, pretty self-explanatory, but what does verbal communication look like versus nonverbal?
So our verbal communication again is just the message we're trying to get across. So you and I have a message, you're trying to receive it, and that's kind of how verbal communication works. So the building blocks of that is you want to try to build a rapport and create trust through verbal communication. So that can be through small talk, sometimes matching those nonverbal signals such as head nods, or even, moving your arms the same way, getting in the same posture as somebody, and just kind of mimicking that to kind of build that rapport. But then you also have to look at everybody processes things different. Some people are visual, some people are auditory, some people like those different types of cues when they speak. So when we talk about somebody that's more of a visual when communicating, they say, imagine this or look at this. Those that are more auditory or say, tell me or hear this or, clear as a bell, voice my opinion in some way. And then another aspect is when we're into like our public speaking, again, with those group settings in our verbal communication, just knowing our audience, making sure objectives are super clear, whether that is in a group setting or if it's some sort of business on one, and making sure that everything that we do is just appropriate. Sometimes we have mistakes, but it's always practice, practice, practice with all of these things.
So many great points, Sarah. Now we're just about out of time for today, but stay tuned because tomorrow we're going to continue our conversation on effective communication and focus on active listening. Thanks for joining us today on the Farm and Home Show, and we'll see you next time.